Today, Precarious plays
Lost Kingdoms 2. My friend Moonlight Butterfly here, he gave me an important new card. And I was hoping that we could come back and I could show you what it does. But unfortunately, they didn't put a deck point around here. And they were not kind enough to just include it. And now that I think about it, I think that the function of this has to be unlocked. I don't think that those are on by default.
Is that the mechanic that you were talking about?
The one that they're going to introduce that is underutilized but interesting? Yes.
Oh, those sharks.
No,
What?
that is a glitch. That's a rendering error.
I don't like that at all. Let's leave.
Yeah, it's one of the crabs. It's just on the bottom floor.
Oh,
Yeah. It's an uncanny one.
Ever have a bright light on and then like a moth flies in front of it?
Oh.
And then you end up with like a moth puppet that's like the size of... That's...
Mothra.
Mothra. Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, have I ever met Mothra? Yes, it was unpleasant. So that's one of the things that I find a little irksome about this game. And now we've encountered two examples, or we're about to encounter a second example in this dungeon. I feel it suffers a little bit from optional backtracking stuff where the designers essentially leave a ball bat on the ground and then give you like a little eyebrow dance, like and then just walk away and leave you to bludgeon yourself with it. Like, hey, that thing that's not very fun, we're gonna make it be entirely self-directed. Okay, so they do try to aim in front of you. Neat.
So you can like run forward and then dash back a little. I'm just the way that enemies do their attacks.
I see. That one specifically, she kept doing a really good job of targeting directly in front of me.
Yeah.
Like where I was headed, and at first I thought maybe it was chance, but after it happened a couple of times, I was like, no, I think that the designers did that on purpose.
Do you think that, do you feel like between this game and all of the Souls games, the pattern of enemy attacks, has it always felt that sort of dangerous way where the enemies know a little bit more than your typical video game enemies?
It is wildly inconsistent. I mean, if I could say one nice thing about From Software enemies just broadly, it would be that they have done an excellent job over time of putting in enough variety to generally to keep me guessing. Is, for example, they have pilots in Armored Core, and if the character is supposed to be a dope, they'll go through the trouble of making them kind of a bad pilot. And they don't fight effectively. One of the most complicated things that they do with Armored Core is occasionally they have pilots that, for personal reasons, like narrative reasons, will not participate in whatever ranking system that the government has propped up to try to keep all of these mercenaries like uneasy with one another.
Yeah.
And it's like the wandering samurai that lives out in the wilderness. Oh, you know who it is? It's like Kenshin.
Right.
Where it's like, oh no, I could murder everybody, but I'm unranked.
Yeah.
And now you have to fight me, and even though I don't have a rank with Raven's Nest or wherever, I don't have like an arena ranking, I will straight ice you. I can do it. So what I was saying before, you need a card to get over there that you don't have yet. You have to come back from a later level to use those pads that we found before.
Yeah.
I feel like I identified both of those things when I was playing before, and said, okay, I'm not going to come back here in stages. I'm going to wait until I'm pretty sure I can do both at once.
Right.
And that is a rough guessing game to participate in. Now, what did that do? Wait a second.
You close it off completely.
Holy crap, I wonder if this impacts something on the lower level that I didn't understand before. I think I'm gonna leave it like that for right now. There were treasures that I could not seem to figure out, like I could not get them.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if messing with the sluice gate on this floor impacts the other floors. I didn't consider it because they are discrete stages on the map, you know?
Isn't that also an idea that we see in areas of the Souls games?
Actually, not in the same way. A lot of Dark Souls design, sort of surprisingly, now that I'm thinking about it in this context, focus on gifts to describe it succinctly. It's a nicety that you open. You don't have to worry about toggling something on or off. You know what I mean? Skeleton.
But you can open away and then it stays open, and it's like a shorter thing that allows you to avoid some amount of trouble or distance.
Right, and this might be elephant and skeleton. You guys are we are not going for ice cream.
Oh.
One thing that I love about this game, even though it can be a little frustrating some of the time, just like in the first one, whenever you're in the process of swinging a card, you are invulnerable. So I was thinking that if they had space for it, I feel like the shoulder button is not used very much. It's not used for a lot. Ugh.
Lady!
It's not used for a lot. I feel like they could have probably given her like a little sidestep or an evasive roll. But I think that might step too much on the toes of that wind-up effect, you know?
Yeah.
How close are we to the end of an episode? Because I have... Haha, now I will have the sharks.
Can you send the sharks after the sharks and then they fight each other under the land?
They pop up to try to do bites, but I mean, kinda. There's something that I wanna... No, it'll be disappointing if it doesn't work. Let's just hang out here, and then we'll end the episode by... I can show you what the cool new... Like a big selling point of this title is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I think it gets cutscene-ified, so it won't have quite the same impact. But do understand that it's like, it's a power I get to keep. It's not just a key.
Huh.
So are there any questions? Or is there anything that I started to talk about and then didn't finish? Ooh, so this is interesting. I have enough stones so I can show you. Whenever you use a summon type, in the first game, they were functionally just sort of like a long-winded weapon card.
Mm-hmm.
They were not very distinct. But in this game, whenever you use a summon, you can press A or B, and it will use one of two different techniques.
That's cool.
So before... actually, no, I used the boulder toss before, didn't I?
You did.
Well, they're interesting, but possibly not as interesting as this nonsense.
Who's that?
It's me!
It's you?
Me. Yep.
You're in there.
Yes, you can transform into a select number of monsters.
That's cool.
And no one knew.
Did you know? Or did that just happen out of need? Through magical inspiration?
She knew because she transformed in the opening FMV, which makes it sort of, I don't want to say like non-canon, because that's silly, but it does conflict with the story that's being told there, and also it conflicts with the fact that you don't actually have Birdman in your deck at the start of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, fancy cutscene's got a fancy cutscene.
I suppose so.